Hello, my name is Zachary Van Sliders with Hello, my name is Zachary Van Sliders with Old Man Gaming. You have decided for whatever reason to turn into another horrible game review. So before we get into it, just a couple of disclaimers as usual before we start. The word horrible does not necessarily refer to the game that I am reviewing, but instead the quality of the review itself. This is a snap judgment review. I do not go in super in-depth. In other words, I do not beat these games. I sometimes only get 5, maybe 6 hours with them, somewhere between 5 and 10. So keep that in mind as the review progresses. Number 2, I don't give scored reviews for video games. I believe it's one of the most subjective forms of art. Therefore, you will get an overview of what the game is about, the pros and the cons from my point of view, as all reviews are, and then whether or not I will be sticking with it past the purposes of this review. Those out of the way, the game I am reviewing today is Moving Out, the kind of frantic moving simulator, kind of crazy Overcooked style game from Team 17. This game, the basic overview is you play one of up to 4 players co-op, and you go into a comicalized house, and then you have to move a certain number of the objects in the house. You can very easily they're tagged already, they flash, so they're easy to see and to know what you have to move. Basically, you have to get them out of the house and into the truck as efficiently and quickly as possible. This does not mean you can't break stuff. In fact, many levels encourage you to break stuff, cause chaos, jump through windows, throw stuff out of second-story windows, and then, of course, every level has its host of different obstacles and objects. One level, a turtle will chase after you, another one, a chicken. All sorts of weird things get thrown at you. The main point of the game is all about speed. Basically, you have a gold, a silver, and a bronze time for getting everything out of the house and into the truck, and the time starts to tick down. It notifies you up in the top part of the screen what you're in. So like if you miss the gold time, it'll turn to silver and then to bronze. If you miss the bronze time, you lose the level and have to restart it. So you can't progress without getting a medal in every small area, and that's really the actual competition and crux of the drama of the game. There are also 3 bonus objectives that you can complete to earn like in-game cash, which allows you to buy cosmetics for your character, from what I can understand. Those bonus objectives, you won't know them for the first time you play a level until you beat the level. If you beat the level and complete the bonus objectives, you'll see which one's checked off. And either way, if you complete the level, you'll see the 3 bonus objectives so that you can go back in and try to do them directly instead of just guessing what it could be. They're anything from pack extra things to break every window in a house to all sorts of different kind of things along that level. That's really it for the overview. I mean, this is short and sweet. It's a very simple premise. Much like Overcooked, you're just doing a task repetitively over and over again with different levels put on. And of course, as you move different houses, they get more and more ridiculous, more and more mechanically interesting. So with all that said, let's get to the pros and cons. Pros. Number 1, this game has to be compared to Overcooked. It's the same style. Just one is cooking and one is moving out of house. Like the same engine seems to be in place here. It's very simple. With 1 or 2 action buttons for jumping and picking things up, and then one for throwing the items, and that's it. So it's nice and easy to pick up, but kind of difficult to master. I will say this. So my first real pro is the fact that there's less multitasking in it. It's not less challenging. It's just with Overcooked, you have to be worrying about 4 or 5 things, as well as 4 or 5 things that your partner or other co-op partners are doing at the same time to make it work. With this, it's really as simple as getting all the items from point A to point B. Some of the items require 2 people to lift them. With that being said, it doesn't go further than that, so you're not worrying about the stove starting on fire while you're also chopping something, while you're also serving something, while you're also washing dishes. It's not that kind of thing. It's more like, I need to move this from point A to point B as fast as possible. Do I throw it through a window? Do I jump through the window after it? Do I need a person to help me? So with that said, I enjoyed that part of it, because if there's anything I didn't like from Overcooked that keeps me from going back to it, it's kind of that that multitask, kind of have to worry about everything sort of thing. I don't really like that so much. The next pro is the co-op, and I'm going to get an extra little plug in here. I apologize, but for the next 3 weeks, me and my wife are actually playing Moving Out for our Prelude to Divorce show on this very channel. The first episode having come out yesterday. Now, that being said and out of the way, I did get to play both co-op and single player, and the co-op is a lot of fun. The thing that I like the most about the co-op is while there are plenty of chances to get angry at each other or to get in each other's way, there's also less of you have to rely on the other person to get stuff out. With Overcooked, in a lot of situations, you just can't do it by yourself. With this, you could move everything by yourself if you had to, with the exception of a couple of objects that you have to move with your friend. So it limits those like real rage-inducing situations with your partner. Still, like I said, plenty of situations you can actually, there's a button to slap the other one just to have fun. There's plenty of situations to work together. There's plenty of situations to not. But you don't have to rely on them to get stuff done, and I enjoy that. I tend to be a little bit more of a lone wolfer in video games as a general whole, so that was a nice addition. That was a nice feel for me to be able to do the co-op and have fun with the chaos without having to worry about totally failing. My next con is a little bit more family-friendly oriented. If you're a family guy, this is a game you can definitely play with your kids. There's no nasty words or bad language or blood and guts, and it's fun enough that you will enjoy it and they will enjoy it. It's also simple enough that they could pick it up relatively easily. So it's definitely a family-friendly game, which I enjoy. My child is not old enough to get really interested in video games, but when she is, this is one that I wouldn't feel bad playing with her, and that's nice. So let's go to the cons. Con number one, single player. While it's in the game and you can do it, basically what it does is it just makes you able to lift things that you would normally have to lift with another person, such as the couches or the beds. It makes you a little bit more super strong, I guess. The thing is, though, is the one-player mode is boring. With Overcooked, it's not. Like I said, Overcooked is not necessarily my style of game for long-term, but Overcooked, you could play it alone and be just as entertained, whereas you can't play this alone and be just as entertained. It gets really old really fast. I played through the first 4 or 5 levels by myself, and then I played through the first, I think, 4 levels in our playthrough for Prelude to Divorce. And the game, I had all but written it off for the single player, but I didn't want to do this review until I did multiplayer. I did the multiplayer, and that's where all the fun is. All the fun is. While this game strikes so much of a better balance than Overcooked on the multiplayer, in my opinion, it totally loses all of its single player luster. And I did not enjoy it at all single player, and had a very hard time, there just wasn't that much to it single player, so it got old real fast. My next con would be the repetition. Like I said, if you're not playing it with anybody, this is a very, very simple, straightforward premise. And while sometimes that's cool, I didn't see a whole lot, and stuff could happen later that really changes stuff up. I'm not saying it couldn't, but I didn't see a whole lot in the first few hours that I played that would keep me in there for the long haul, that would keep me from getting a little bit bored. I think even if I was failing, it's still just taking a thing from point A to point B. It's basically fetch quests, the game. So that was just a little bit of a bummer on my part. So with all that said, let's go to whether or not I'm going to stick with it. I don't know if I'm going to stick with it. I would say this game is good. I don't think it's necessarily a negative if I don't stick with it. This game definitely accomplishes what it set out to accomplish, and it does it with absolute precision. The thing is that thing that it's trying to accomplish doesn't necessarily speak to me. So unless I'm playing it with my wife or my kid or something like that, I probably won't go back to it. But I will say this game is great. It is really good in the genre, especially the co-op party game. I would pick playing this with 2 to 4 players over Overcooked, which I think right there says something about it. So all that being said, that concludes the review. I know it's a little bit of a short and sweet one, but there's not too much to say about this game. It's good, and it does what it's supposed to do, and if that's a thing that you want, then this is the one for you. With that being said, one more additional plug. Please check out Prelude to Divorce. We're doing Moving Out if you're interested in seeing more footage of it for the next 3 Sundays, including yesterday. And yeah, we will see you guys next week. And as long as you guys keep watching and listening, we'll keep on making them. See you then.